is?
Yeah.
You know her daughter
Yeah.
and son too.
Yeah, I know Julian.
Okay. All right. I'll be with you in a minute.
All right, cool.
You still there?
Me? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm just...
So the thing is, like, I'm looking at this. I just want to make sure I get this right. So I got this from an article, and it's saying that Diamantis was doing double duty.
Wait, Walter, you can't talk right now until I'm on, only because you possibly might go over. So just stand by for about 90 seconds.
Got it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for streaming with us. I'm Kara Sundling, coming to you with some breaking news as we cover the federal corruption trial for a former official within Governor Lamont's administration, and that is Kosta Diamantis. He's accused of steering no-bid contracts and taking bribes. It's a federal trial that just started today. Because it's a federal trial, there are no cameras in court. So what we want to do is bring you up to date by bringing in our legal analyst, and that would be Walter Hussey. Let's see if we can bring him in right now.
Hello, Kara.
Hi, Walter. 1 minute. We're just, I'm tuning you in. Give me a, let's see. Sorry to our viewers at home. We're just going to make sure that you can see Walter. And there we go. All right. All right. Walter Hussey, our Channel 3 legal analyst. Thank you so much for being with us. This is a federal corruption trial. And let me ask you this. What's your take on the likelihood of conviction here? Because what you were telling me and what other attorneys have said is once you end up in federal court, there's a pretty high degree of conviction. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, it's incredibly high. It's anywhere from about 97% to 99% nationwide. So you may be having less than a 5% chance of success as a defendant.
So to explain it to our viewers why this matters, we keep seeing the headlines that this guy was supposed to be in charge of some state money and now is accused of steering contracts. Can you break down the case, at least from the prosecutor's point of view, on what Diamantis is accused of and how you think they're going to prove it?
Yeah, sure. So quite simply, one of the jobs he had was to allocate funding for school projects throughout the state. The town of Tallinn had a problem with one of their elementary schools or middle schools, and they had basically the foundations, the problems they have out there was crumbling. So they had to act on this ASAP. So apparently the claim is that Mr. Diamantis was essentially hiring people to manage the project, at least from the Tallinn end, and steering certain people to do the work. At least that's the claim. His claim is he was merely advising them to maybe hire this person or that person. I think the officials in Tallinn felt they had no other recourse but to accept his recommendations because they were afraid that he would withhold the funds. So it's kind of more or less the claim. And then there was some quid pro quo where Mr. Diamantis received not only just money or favors from various people that were employed on these projects.
So walk us through, this is day one. There's no cameras allowed in court. People are reading in the newspaper and seeing on our air and other broadcast outlets that Governor Lamont is on the witness stand. How big of a deal is that?
To me, I think that's much ado about nothing. I don't really think he's going to testify. I think you might be able to make a nexus. Maybe that's what Attorney Pattis is doing, suggesting that, there's some corruption attached to this that might go above Mr. Diamantis, or it might be business as usual. Mr. Diamantis wasn't doing anything wrong. The truth of the matter is, Kara, to get him into a courtroom, he's got to be subpoenaed. And before he can testify, Mr. Pattis has to make an offer of proof to say, the reason why I called this person as a witness, it has some relevance to my defense in the case. And, I don't know if he can say that or not. So, I mean, it's just kind of a mechanism to maybe have the jury people recognize that, hey, we may call the governor. And I think it kind of just gives it a little sensationalism.
Does the evidence point to any red-handedness, really getting caught in the act of corruption?
Well, to be believed, there was at least 3 people that pled guilty on this as basically co-conspirators. At least 2 of them are scheduled to testify. So the way I look at that is this. One way to look at it is, why would they plead guilty if they weren't? But I think the defense is obviously going to say, well, the only reason they pled guilty is because they received a favorable benefit. In other words, no jail time or very minimal jail time to cooperate in this case. So, and as any case, it's going to come down to credibility and whether or not you can believe these people, who knows? But the government contends that they can make their case through, they have bank records, they have, supposedly they do, bank wires and texts.
Yeah, and if we're sitting there looking at this from the defense perspective, some might wonder why this would go to trial versus a plea agreement. Obviously, he's claiming he's not guilty, but there are school districts like the one in Torrington saying they were told if they didn't use the contractor that he wanted, then they weren't going to get the state money.
Well, my guess is he probably got an offer that he didn't want to accept, which is probably some significant jail time. So to take a chance like this, it's a huge risk. He must have something up his sleeve. So, I think Attorney Pattis is confident he can offer a defense and he can clear his client's name. I mean, it seems like he's guilty by the way they write it in the press, but let's face it, he's presumed innocent and they have to prove the case. They do have a very high success rate, but it doesn't mean he's guilty and it doesn't mean they're going to win in this case.
What should we be watching out for as the regular folks watching this government corruption trial? What are the key things we need to tune into?
Well, I think first of all, you got to stay awake because this is going to be a long, tedious case with a lot of exhibits and a lot of witnesses. But I think at the core is going to be the particular participants that claim they got a benefit one way or another, particularly the ones that have already pled guilty, and see what their real story is.
And when we're talking about prison time, I know he's facing prison time. Any idea on how long or what can happen from here on out?
Well, it all depends. So with a conviction, usually you're going to get more time. But the way the federal system works is there's guidelines. So if he doesn't have a record, which is very favorable to him, the offense level correlates with the amount of time. So for instance, it's a grid. So it could be a period of months, like 36 months. I'm just saying this off the top of my head. But if you were to go to trial, you can obviously receive the maximum sentence. And usually there is a tax imposed for going to trial and losing. And it's usually not going to be favorable to the defendant.
And we know that Kosta Diamantis resigned from the Lamont administration in 2021. This is obviously a political year. We do expect Governor Lamont to announce his intentions to run. Most people believe he is running again. Is there something we should be seeing behind the scenes here of political motivations or why this is happening now, or it's just coincidental?
I really don't know. It's what you make of it. But, I think the administration is pretty bulletproof here in the state of Connecticut. It's obviously a Democratic state. I don't think Governor Lamont's going to have any trouble getting reelected, but this doesn't help.
Yeah, and the idea that he's on the witness list, again, it's because he was the governor when this happened. But going back to what prosecutors accused him was that himself and his family, they were overseeing school construction all across Connecticut. And really, this is a person who was in charge, so people understand, of giving out the state money to build new schools, right?
Yep, basically, you're right. That's it in essence.
So it says he's taking tens of thousands of dollars in bribes during his time in the administration. Tens of thousands. When we look at the different counts, is any idea? I know you said there's guidelines. Any idea if we're talking about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or can there still be a plea agreement once the trial starts?
Unlikely. It's all or nothing at this point. And I don't have that information, unfortunately, but you can look it up. The charge, you can see what the maximum penalties are.
Okay. Does someone with a no record doesn't usually get that, right?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a record, it's always going to benefit you. Even if he loses the trial, that's going to be a benefit to him. So the judges have a lot of discretion in federal court. The government can tend to ask for a lot of time, and the defense will ask for a little time. And the guidelines are merely a suggestion. you can have a non-guideline sentence, and a lot of factors go into that. And it's really up to the judge at the end of the day to mete out what sentence he or she feels is appropriate.
Okay, and just to give people an idea, we understand that opening arguments begin today, and you said get ready for a long trial. You think this is going to be long and tedious?
Definitely, it's probably going to be about 4 weeks. You know, when you're up against the government, they're pretty tedious and they're very methodical, and they have a lot of records. It's not going to be, you know, you're going to be hanging on your seat listening to a lot of these witnesses. Like I said, it's probably about 3 or 4 of them that are going to be critical. And that's when I think you really want to pay attention to what they have to say.
Well, I know it's complicated for a lot of folks as they listen to this, and people are just reading headlines. So we do appreciate you, Walter, coming in and giving us really the what we need to know here, because it gets very complicated. But I guess to sum it up, we're talking about a guy who's accused of shaking down people to use his contractors for money, and somehow he's getting the kickbacks and the bribes, according to prosecutors.
Exactly. So he's directing his guys to do the work, and they're basically kicking money back to him for that benefit. And he's more or less trying to put the strong arm on the towns because they're dependent upon the funds from the state.
The defense attorney, Norm Pattis, very well known here in the state of Connecticut. He was also the defense attorney in the Fotis Doulos case. As we see some famous names like Governor Lamont listed on the witness list, do you expect the defense to drop some surprises or try and make this trial even perhaps more interesting? Is that part of the strategy? I know I'm asking you to use conjecture because you're not the defense attorney, but you are a defense attorney. So I'm wondering, as far as what you can tell from their strategy.
Well, he's a very colorful individual for sure. He's very intelligent. He's very creative. I'm sure he's going to come up with something. He's not your general defense attorney. He puts on a show, for better or for worse. But you know, I think he's an excellent attorney. Like I said, he's very intelligent. I'm sure he'll be up to the challenge.
Walter Hussey, we appreciate you sharing your time with us. I know we'll be back with you as this trial is just getting started, and our reporter, Susan Raff, is also live in the courthouse for folks coming up on Eyewitness News at 4, as no cameras are allowed. So we will be bringing you more analysis. And Walter, just want to say thank you for your time and at least giving us a little help as we try and preview what's going to be a very long federal trial for corruption.
Well, thank you too, Karen. I look forward to speaking to you in the future.
Thanks, Walter. And for everyone else, we'll see you back here for Eyewitness News. Starting at 4 o'clock, we'll have a wrap-up on the Diamantis trial of day 1 as defense and prosecutors lay out their case. I'll see you on Eyewitness News at 4. Thanks for streaming with us.
Am I good? Okay.
Live TV, or?
We're live streaming, yeah.
So it wasn't like TV.